Hey, it's time for another industry thought bubble. This time around, a little bit different. I've been talking to current MSP owners and younger people that are looking to start up their own MSP. Been working in this MSP industry for like 10 years. They think they can do better. The reason I'm bringing this up is if you're thinking about starting an MSP, don't. And well, I might say I'm brutal. It's not because I want to shut the door or pull the ladder up from anyone behind us that are coming in. Actually, because it's not the right business model to jump into. If you're trying to start a business, do not jump into a highly competitive market that's commoditizing and very difficult to get clients. You might think you might have one or two people you already know and you can start a business from that. But you're not going to be able to grow very much past that doing a traditional MSP model. If you look at your current MSP you're working at, most MSPs aren't growing a whole lot from new business. Maybe they're not doing very well because they're not very good at sales and marketing, but a lot of it's more down to the fact that relationships are locked up and it's a commoditizing service delivery. So as you look at it, what might look lucrative now, your company might be charging $100 a seat, maybe more. That's not going to last for very long for the types of services we're delivering. If you're trying to dive in and provide end user support, um, larger MSPs that are consolidating and becoming more sophisticated are going to be able to deliver those services for much cheaper than you can. And that's one of the reasons why I say don't do an MSP. Also, when you're starting out, you're not really an MSP, no matter what you say. If you don't have a team around you, whether that's backed by a master MSP or you have direct staff, you can't really service your clients like a proper MSP. You can't automate the things well. You can't service all their needs, etc., etc. And that's not a reflection on you. That's just a reflection on the size. The MSP model was always built to scale to a certain size to operate and make good money off the back of uh, break fix time and materials IT support. And the value in what that IT support really is anymore, it's really disappearing. And without having a compelling differentiation, you're sort of dead in the water. Um, and now that doesn't mean you can't go start another sort of technology business. It just means when you hear me say it or you're hearing, you might be talking to some other people around the place about starting your own MSP. This is legitimately why a lot of us are saying don't do it. Um, Especially with the rise of cybersecurity as well, cybersecurity threats as well. Being a one-man band starting out, especially if you don't have partners, you're opening yourself up to a world of business risk and personal liability that you probably have no appreciation for. As soon as you become a director, there are laws and regulations that you are held to, and your personal assets are up for grabs if you don't do the right things. So it's a more serious thing than just the jokes that you may hear around don't do an MSP because it's stressful. There's legitimacy behind it. So when I've had these conversations and I've had given that sort of hard reality, a lot of people are quite shocked. But once we talk it through, like I just did, start to understand. If you want to run a business, apart from it's bloody hard and you need to be open to learning and really realize you don't know what you don't know, and there's a lot, and it's not a you don't just make money and set yourself up for life by just owning a business. If you're going to go into it, have an end in mind. Know why you're actually starting that business. If you've got a passion for something, and obviously you do if you're starting a business, the biggest trap you can find yourself in being a new business owner is relying on that passion for your purpose behind the business, and that's why you do it every day. And you'll find a lot of the MSP owners that have been doing this for 20 odd years will say the same. Is while they had an interest, if you fall into that, that's why you rock up every day, and that's the only reason. And you're not looking at the business itself as a investment and more than just a job. You can sweat it out for a very long time for not a lot of money, where someone of your equivalent skill could have a much different career path and work less, earn more. So when you are going into the business, you need to really get financial acumen in the first place, understand where you're heading with the business, understand that you're going to have to exit at some point, and be more deliberate about what you're doing. So you might be thinking that sounds like a lot of work, and it is, and there's a reason why I have lots of white hair in my beard in my head for when I'm only 35. The amount of hours and stuff I've done as a small business owner has been crazy. And any of the MSP owners that have been around since 10, 15, 20 years will say the same. It is a lot of work, and you need to make sure you make money out of it. Otherwise, there is no magical payday at the end. You're not guaranteed to make good money. You may know what stress is, but at least you think you know what stress is. But if you grow it decently enough to where you have some employees, I've never felt any kind of stress like trying to make payroll every week, and managing cash flow. It's a whole different level of pressure. So if you're really questioning running a business from this, that's good, and you're probably not ready. And most of the people I've spoken to in that age range, they're not ready, not mature enough. They don't have enough drive to learn, not enough drive to go out there and chase sales. Lots of those things. And if you can't do that, don't dive in. There's plenty of jobs to be had, and there's plenty of good businesses to work for. But if you're crazy enough to have heard all of this, I've crushed your hopes of running an MSP, and I've crushed your hopes in wanting to be a business owner, and you're still here, and I haven't scared you off. If you want to run a technology business, don't do an MSP. What you want to be is a modern technology solutions partner. And you'll hear a lot more thought leadership from me on LinkedIn and when I'm doing events of what those business models look like. But if I boiled it down, what it means is you're delivering solutions, which means you're productizing services and you're standardizing ways to solve problems. MSPs don't do this. MSPs just fix something when they're broken, and they provide some management services. That's not business solutions. It's come from the days of the early 2000s where technology was absolutely horrid for small business and it was unstable. We've got that problem solved now. Small businesses need help with making their businesses more efficient. They need help with enabling their people. They need help with ways to reach new customers and make more money through automation and things like that. That's what a TSP, a technology solutions partner, does. It's focused on people and process, utilizing technology to make life easier. It's security baselines baked in. It's none of this add-on bolt-on to a support package. Whatever we do has some form of security wrapped around it. We may provide help desk services, but again, you don't need to provide it. There's There's plenty of other people that can do that kind of thing. It's around consulting or advice to help the client understand their problems and then provide them the right solutions. There's recurring in this. There's a lot more subscription-based selling than what a typical MSP does. There's still standardized stacks, but it's more flexible. You only need to look at every MSP. They're cut out of at least 60% of technology decisions these days, if not more, because they can't help at the application layer. So when you're looking at this sort of service-based business, those are the things that you should look at. And there's not that many running around yet. That's what clients are starting to look for and want and need. So you can be on that starting point, but you need to make sure you know what you're trying to achieve, who your ideal clients are, what your specialties are, your niche. The mistake MSPs made in the past that you can learn from is they were very horizontal. They serviced anyone as an MSP. You look at most MSPs, they'll service like 10 different industry verticals. It's very difficult to do that. And this is why traditional MSP services are very generic and they're commoditized. If you're going to be a small business, unless you've got the capabilities to scale up to a significant size, which, let's be honest, the statistics say it's unlikely, you're always going to be that smaller business. So you have to be deliberate about what you do and how you go about it. And I'll talk more about that in my thought leadership I'll share in the future. So it's just about time, and I've rambled on like an old man, like it's back in my day. But I've just been having so many of these conversations lately and hearing others having these conversations. I thought I needed to get this out there so that younger people can hear this and learn from the mistakes of the past and not dive into something that's a dying business model. So let's have a think, keep an eye out, and see what other opportunities there are that are different to just copying an MSP that you've worked in and saw and thought you could do better. Think about what is it that they don't actually do that you think's missing, and is it just because you think you can do it more efficiently or whatever, compared to, are you seeing opportunities in the solutions that you could potentially provide? If you've got this clarity, it's a lot easier to start a business. It's a lot easier to get clients, market, etc., etc., etc. And that's a whole different conversation. But we don't need more MSPs. We need fewer and higher quality. And starting a new one is not going to you're not going to be able to achieve that very, very well. The industry just needs good, high quality MSPs that maintain a security baseline and get their clients up to a decent technology standard. And what's next is the TSP. So hopefully this has helped you and shaped your thoughts a bit differently, and good luck on your journey.